Hi, my name is Kimberly Roberts. I am representing Watch Exotics. I'd like to talk to you about an invasive species. It is called Didymnum vexillum, caught 2002. It forms ascidian colonies which are sessile. They attach themselves to hard surfaces. This animal is a member of the invertebrate class Ascidiaceae. This species lives in water. They have a backbone, they have no backbone, unlike humans who have a backbone. It is found in the seas and on the North Atlantic coast, in such places as New York and Massachusetts. They often attach themselves to ship hulls, large crabs, rocks, and boats. The colonial sea squirt is protected by an outer covering called the tunic. The tunic is a tissue which looks like cellulose. The colonial sea squirt has two openings. One acts as a mouth, the oral aperture, and the other as an anus, colloquial aperture. Water is pumped through the animal's body by pharyngeal cilia. Oxygen and food are vital for a colonial sea squirt's life. They absorb nutrients through gill slits in the pharynx. The sea squirt feeds on debris from other animals as well as plankton in the ocean. The colonial sea squirt reproduces in two important ways, sexually and asexually. When a colonial sea squirt procreates by budding, it grows a little branch which breaks off at the base and forms a new sea squirt. It is called a zooid. The budding zooids get together and form a colony. The colony in turn gets stuck on a surface. The colonies form mats on a hard and immobile surface. The sea squirt infuse eggs. They can secrete eggs into the water, which are fertilized by sperm. This union is of sperm and egg, and it forms a larva. The larvae swim around freely until it settles down and finds a place to metamorphose. To metamorphose means to attach its suckers, which can be found on the front end of its body. The larvae also contain a notochord and nerve cord, which later disappear. A colonial sea squirt cannot stay alive in muddy waters. If the oral aperture are covered with dirt, it would soon die. The colonial sea squirt can be called an ecosystem engineer because it has a disastrous effect on the fishing industry. The colonial sea squirt captures its live space quickly and chokes out all other living things. The mats which grow in water disturb the ecosystem. Many fisheries have lost money. Careful records have been kept about how the sea squirt have affected the fishing business. The fishermen want to see the sea squirt because they need to prevent the sea squirt from keeping the barnacles and mussels from growing and thriving in their native environment. Um, sea squirts larvae can grow on one substrate and break off. They can create even more sea squirts. Many methods have been utilized to keep the colonial sea squirt under control. The first method is to keep the sea squirt from taking over by preventing new invasive um, shutting down old invasive techniques that it uses. The second method is to try to reduce their total effect. Quarantine techniques are being performed to remedy the problem. Research shows that the climate of the water begets mating among sea squirts. The degree to which colonial debase in the winter weather controls the amount of time necessary to recuperate, revive, and breed larvae. Larval fledglings will be discharged at the finish of the developmental period as water becomes heated, not when a certain temperature is attained. Larval likely will become visible to certain temperatures at climatically different sites and at about the same moment, and the condition at climatically similar sites will remain the same. Constantly changing climate leads itself to reproductive failure. The time required for a new generation of colonial sea squirts to procreate depends on the weather. As water temperatures drop, less reproduction occurs in colonies. In Great Harbor, Woodhull, Massachusetts, a 12 by 12 by 6/10 of a centimeter horizontal PVC plate was installed suspended by some ropes into the ocean. A total of 28 such pieces of PVC were installed 1/3 of a meter from one another. The PVC was removed from the water, studied with a magnifying glass, and photographed. Another experiment was performed at Appledore Island, Isles of Shoals, Maine. This experiment was the same as the Woodhull, Massachusetts experiment, except the PVC plates were vertical and the result was similar. The colonial sea squirts were being studied so that we will be able to control them and other fish and animals can live with them.